In October of last year, I made the decision to go live consecutively on YouTube for 100 days. I did a video to explain why I was doing this, which I will definitely 100% link here. But now that I am at the end of the challenge, which I successfully completed, get in there, my son, 100 days of going live on YouTube, I wanted to come and share with you some of the lessons that I learned during the time of uploading content live daily. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Janine. I'm a live video strategist and the founder of Boss It Live, and I'm extremely passionate about helping content creators and amazing entrepreneurs just like you show up on social media, building your brand with live videos. So if this topic sounds interesting to you, you want to know the feedback of what I actually discovered about myself and about YouTube and going live for a long period of time, 100 days. Because let me just tell you guys, it has been such a journey for me. It's been so enjoyable for me to build a community around live video for 100 consecutive days. But what did I learn? So let's get into it now. The first thing that I want to share with you is that I'm not quite as good at live streaming as I thought I was. Don't get me wrong, I am very good at live streaming. I've been doing it for almost 7 years. This is my business. I teach on it. But as I was going along on this challenge, I started to see that there were certain things that I was doing that wasn't necessarily necessary and all that great. For example, one of the things that I found myself doing was a huge long intro about myself before getting into the content. Even though I was keeping it to a 30-second framework, it was still very much centered and focused on myself. And as I started to look at other content creators on YouTube that were live streaming and creating pre-recorded video content, plus getting advice when I would attend community live streams on the likes of StreamYard, being part of Nick Nimen's community, the Niminati, I got to learn that you've got to have that hook at the very beginning. So I started getting into the habit of asking more questions or coming straight in the live with that important opening hook, and it worked so much better. And also I found that I was a little bit stiff. More stiff than I'd like to say. I thought I was completely and totally in my flow. But something happened to me at the beginning of this journey when I came onto YouTube that I kind of lost it a little bit in terms of that flow and personality, and I was a little bit uptight, and you can see that in some of my earlier videos. So that was the first thing that I learned. The second thing is that consistency creates good habits. And whilst that might sound obvious, I needed to learn that, particularly for YouTube. I've said this multiple times that during my journey of being a YouTuber, I started my channel back in 2015, did nothing with it until 2016, then had a burst of energy, and then just fell off the wagon and really struggled for about the past 5 years to really do anything with this on a consistent basis to build the channel. Turning up on YouTube every single day for 100 days helped me to really build into my daily routine, coming live and uploading video content. So the next thing for me is that it allowed me to see my progress very, very easily. So going live and uploading content every single day, number one, I was able to see how my audience and my community were responding, but also on the back end, I was able to see a lot of things that I wasn't necessarily paying attention to. And just being able to see myself progress in terms of my delivery of content as I started to learn StreamYard and getting my Logitech camera, I was able to see these things, and it really encouraged me to keep going. The next thing is that creating live content that mirrored video on demand style content, that is something that was completely and totally unexpected for me, but really, really valuable, because live video or live streaming and creating pre-recorded, edited content is very, very different. But I knew that coming on to YouTube, even though I struggled with it in the beginning, I knew that I couldn't go live in the same way that I did on Instagram. Well, you can only go live in portrait mode, but for the likes of live streaming on, for example, Facebook Facebook or LinkedIn, it's a different thing altogether. I had to learn how to create content that mirrored basically being native to this platform, which is video on demand. And so I wanted to make sure that whenever I would go live, I would try and replicate that as much as I possibly could. And over time, I got really, really good. Well, I say really, really good, but I got better and better and better at it. So that I think that that's actually helped me going forward with recording videos, because I used to really hate it. Like, I used to really hate doing pre-recorded videos. Now I absolutely love it, because I'm just bringing the whole live video on demand video, it's a mouthful, to pre-recorded video. All right, let me move on to the next point. So the next point is that I feel like I've become more tech savvy. In fact, I have become more tech savvy using third-party tools. And you guys know what's coming next. My favorite being StreamYard. You guys know I love StreamYard. And so I became more and more confident with using StreamYard to bring in other elements and effects to create a better experience for my community that were watching my videos. And then also having channel reviews from the likes of Daniel Batal and Dee Nimin every Saturday. It really helps me to become more experimental with using third-party tools, with using StreamYard, so that I created better live video content. So that was absolutely awesome stuff. So the next thing that I want to say is understanding my YouTube analytics a lot better. So that was one of the things that was kind of putting me off of doing YouTube. I was a bit frightened of understanding optimization, SEO, and then looking at my analytics so that I could create better content. But over these 100 days, it's almost like night and day in terms of my understanding. So going into my analytics and looking at my content and seeing where people were dropping off and why potentially, and looking at my titles and descriptions and thumbnails and thinking, okay, is this working so well? So that has been absolutely just one of the best things for me in terms of these 100 days, because at the beginning, I didn't really know what I was doing, but now I feel like I'm moving forward. I've also taken the time to invest in my learning as well. I've been committed to really learning my analytics, and as a result of creating live video content for 100 consecutive days, I absolutely had to go in and look at my content, look at what was going on pretty much every single day. Now, I know I didn't have to, but for me, because I was having to optimize on a daily basis, I was doing those reviews, and it's just been priceless. It's been such an advantage for me going forward, and I'm really excited about learning more about it. So the next thing is creating a workflow to help me stay consistent. This was really invaluable for me, because if you think about it, 100 consecutive days going live is a lot. And I had one of my community members ask me in a live stream, like, Janine, did you plan all of the content, 100 bits of content prior to doing the challenge? And I was like, absolutely 100% not. I did not. However, I did create myself a system and a workflow to be able to show up with content every single day that was valuable for the community. So having project management tools like Asana, using Canva was all part of it. And obviously having the content, knowing what the pillar of content was, what I wanted to talk about, was vitally important for me to be able to show up. And also making sure that I kept myself on a schedule. You know, it was so helpful once I actually started this challenge to have that in place. Now, let me just say to you, I didn't perfect it at the beginning. It's happened over time. So the final thing is letting go of the vanity metrics and being more focused on my audience. I think this is one of the biggest lessons for me of doing these 100 days of live streaming on YouTube, simply because at the beginning of the challenge, I had an end goal in mind. And the end goal in mind was to reach 1,000 subscribers. That was the benchmark for me. And I had all these reasons why I wanted it to be 1,000. And I thought if I got to 1,000, then it would mean I'd be able to do X, Y, and Z following on from the challenge. And I put all this pressure around the vanity metrics on myself from the very beginning. And again, whilst it's important to understand the analytics analytics and look at views and so forth, I actually had to make a decision to let go of that, because if you're uploading content every single day and you're paying that much attention, like to the numbers, it's going to drive you crazy. And so I had to let go of that and refocus and say to myself, well, Janine, what's the most important thing about what you're doing? And it came back to my community, my audience, and creating content that creates an experience for them. As much as I could possibly be in control of that and do that, that's what I started focusing on. And I realized that as soon as I started focusing on my community, you amazing bosses, I started to see growth. More people coming to my live streams, the following, the subscriptions coming. So for me, whilst I didn't get to the 1K at the end of the challenge, that does not matter. What has mattered to me the most is seeing people turning up every single day, being really interactive on my content, whether live or replay. For those that have been reaching out and saying, I'm going to miss your content, your daily lives, but hey, they're here. And just seeing my community grow and meeting new people that I never would have met or connected with had I not embarked upon this challenge. So I have been really, really grateful for this. I am going to do a video talking about my analytics, what my growth was. So I will definitely be doing that. So definitely make sure that you look out for that. But I want to ask you a question. I've got a question for you guys. The question that I have is, what have you learned so far in your journey as a YouTube content creator? I want to hear from you, whether you have been going live, whether you don't do lives and it's just about video on demand, or if you're doing a combination of both. I would love to hear what has been your experiences so far, your biggest lessons. But if you have enjoyed the lives that I've actually been doing, the live streams here, be sure to check out the playlist, which is all about live video for business. And I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.